In this episode, we have Sifu Alan Baker, and he is an internationally recognized martial arts and self-defense expert, instructor, speaker, and he has over 44 years of martial arts training. Learn some of these universal truths from martial arts and how they can be applied to happy hustling your dream reality. We're going to be diving into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee! All right, Sifu Alan Baker, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my man. I am super pumped to rock the mic with you.
Excited to be here, Coach. Thank you.
Hey, let's go, baby. It is an honor to have you truly because you are an internationally recognized martial arts and self-defense expert, instructor, speaker, and you're widely known as the agent of change with 44 years, yes, 44 years of martial arts training and extensive experience coaching in self-leadership through your Warriors Path program. You have empowered individuals to make profound positive changes and really happy hustle their dream reality. And when I read your bio too, man, like 25 different martial arts disciplines. Let me just list some for the happy hustler. So you've well-versed in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Combat Submission Wrestling, Wing Chun Kung Fu, Filipino Kali, Silat, KC Fighting Method, Muay Thai, and other amazing martial arts. I mean, honestly, we could go on and on about the different things you've accomplished, but really today I want to talk about how can we apply the principles of martial arts and some of your tactics and some of your tools and tips from the Warriors Path program to happy hustling our dream reality. So really excited to get into all that stuff. But before we do, Alan, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Oh, wow.
I know.
Well, as you know, I recently had probably the longest layoff from training in my life.
Yeah.
2-year break because of injuries, a couple other health things that popped up during that time. It's like it all just decided we're going to get him in this 1 year. Fortunately, I was able to fight it back and, that's on the road to recovery. So it's been, wow, an opportunity to practice what you preach.
Right.
About those moments in life when you are under the foot and you have to make the decision. It's like, am I going to do this? And, mix myself in with all of the pain that comes with it, the uncomfort. And then after that, once you decide what your target is, to me, and I preach this a lot, it's that's the moment when you lose fear. I pick my target. It's time to move forward and go do what I'm going to do. And, the clouds, the fog clears and you start taking action,
Yeah, man. Well, coming off like your, 44 years of training consistently daily to then going on a 2-year hiatus. I mean, that's got to like crush your soul and your identity and everything you built yourself on in some capacity. I mean, what would you say to someone out there who may be going through something similar? Like maybe they've gotten laid off from their job or their business failed. I mean, failure is a part of life, even though this injury wasn't quote unquote failure, but it has some of the remnants of having to pick yourself back up. What would you say to someone in that situation?
Well, first of all, failure, we find this out on the mat. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And once you start to look at it and you change your perspective, it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
And then we start to seek it. And we give us a term inside the academy. We call it becoming a wisdom seeker. Because you'll start to seek it out at that point. I'm actually, as an example, I'm going to go across the class and get that 300-pounder, 20-year-old, and we're going to roll. Yeah. I know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to get something out of it. And so, sometimes a life will do that for you. if
Yeah.
you don't get it on the mat.
True.
And I think we have to have perspective that this is that moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can get overly caught up on that 300-pound 20-year-old,
Yeah.
or the loss I know that is coming,
Yeah.
or, it's that perspective of this is going to give me something I don't have. It's going to give me wisdom, knowledge that I don't have. It's going to sharpen my spirit, my
Mm,
passion.
mm.
And with that in mind, once you're in that moment, job loss, what can I focus on? That it may be a small thing, but I'm not going to focus on the big guy. I'm not going to focus on the loss in the moment. I'm going to pick out what I do have control over.
Mm.
And, sometimes I think we get so caught up in the opponent
Mm.
with all of our attention that, there doesn't seem to be anything left to look around. And so we
Yeah.
kind of have to gather ourselves in that moment,
Yeah.
find peace, turn off the phone, turn off the TV,
Yeah.
turn off the gossip, and
Yes.
then sit and realize that, hey, I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
I still have power, and I still have energy. I still
Yeah.
have the ability to make a decision, and I have the ability to take some action. So, what are those actions going to be? And I can kind of look around and say, hey, well, I know I can move my shoulder this much.
Yeah.
I know I can change bone structure a little bit with this guy.
Yeah.
And then with the job loss, it's the same thing. I'll take note of what is available to me.
Yeah.
And, sometimes for me, both in the situation on the mat and in life, it surprises me, when I do sit down. I think you have to have that moment of peace
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to collect your radar so that you can then look and go, wow, you know what? I can do that. I do know this person. I can talk to them. I do know someone that owns this business, and I have a network that I can start to
Yeah.
work with and start making some positive decisions and positive actions.
Yeah. Amen to that. I mean, it really is a part of life. We're
Oh
going to
yeah,
all get kicked in the teeth or choked out on the mat or fired from our job, or our business is going to fail. It's what you do from that point. And I know it's cliche as all get out, but you get, you fall down 7 times, get up 8, right? It's the,
right.
Taekwondo, ethos, right? Or just in martial arts in general. And it's just that resilience, I think, almost is lacking in our culture these days. And
I agree.
it's sad, but it's this soft society that's being raised. And not to point fingers, but it seems like uh there's collective variables that are at play, that have forged this current reality. What do you recommend to entrepreneurs, happy hustlers, parents, teachers, coaches out there to foster and raise not only their own resilience level, but also others in their sphere, maybe kids that they are influencing or their team members? I mean, is there an effective way to forge resilience that you've utilized?
Well, for me, the first part of that is making the decision to pursue, and we could give it lots of names,
Right.
and I speak from my background and the experience I've had in life. But so I say the warrior's path.
Yes.
To decide to say, I'm going to be the individual that's going to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have a lot of those anymore, as you said, so I'm very big proponent of supporting those people that want to take that path.
Right.
And then, it's like we said earlier, the failure, it really is a gold mine. As warriors, we make the decision. Not everybody makes this decision. They'll take the path of comfort, and that's okay. But as a warrior, we choose the path of discomfort,
Yeah.
and we choose to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right. Right.
And then we choose methodology or a environment that we can place ourselves in to challenge ourselves. And
Mm.
and this can look many different ways. And for me, the Martial Art Academy is a great place.
Mm.
And like we said earlier, sometimes, life will throw a curveball, but you might have a pretty good year, a couple of years, and then another curveball. Well, on the martial art mat, you get it every week, twice a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to run from it. So it is a culture that creates opportunities to deal with discomfort
Right.
and sharpen your metal. And again, it could be anything. It's like I also do a lot of climbing and rappelling, and there are opportunities on the side of a rock that'll do the same thing.
Yes.
So you have to find the environment that works for you.
Hmm.
And the thing is also create the educational process, the wisdom seeking process for yourself. I know that I need to do this consistently because over time, consistent resistance. It's like we go to the gym. If we just went and did squats once a month, well, but so we say, oh, I'm going to do it more often because I want to consistently change the body. Well, you can do that for your mind. You can do that for your spirit, your willpower. And so we have to choose what our consistent discomfort is going to be.
Hmm.
And then it's place yourself in it. And I know that sounds simple,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's the process. And having a support group.
Yep.
I say that in relation to failure as well. It's like
Yeah.
one of the reasons we nicknamed it Wisdom Seeker on the Academy mat is because we all become wisdom seekers.
Mm.
We all know we're going to fail,
Yeah.
so we support each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes we support each other by giving each other opportunities to do it. But it's like your group of guys,
Yeah.
they get support for that. That's fantastic. And, collectively come together and go, I know we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to choose my process and put myself under that intentionally.
Yeah.
That's that Borders perspective.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, you gotta, again, I know it's cliche, but it's cliche for a damn reason, y'all. The path forward and to really forge resilience is to get comfortable being uncomfortable and put yourself in those situations where you can have that growth. And it doesn't happen any other way that I know of. I mean,
No, I
yeah,
mean,
you're not going to
it
get
is the
comfortable
path. It
yeah,
is the way.
you're not going to get it watching Netflix and chilling on the couch, unfortunately. Just not going to happen. So, well, let's get into some cool tactical things. I always like to give people, really things that they can take away and implement right away to enrich their reality. And when I think about you and like all the different things that we could talk about, and specifically the wisdom that I hope to extract from you, one of the things that really comes top of mind is, okay, you have been a practitioner in so many different disciplines of these amazing martial arts. And I know there's some phenomenal takeaways in each, right, that you've been able to apply to specifically the business arena, because in some semblance, I feel like business is a martial art in and of
Mm,
itself, right? Like
yeah.
it really, it could be. You learn from mentors, you train, you get your ass kicked, you get back up, you make a couple wins, right? So it's like my question is, of the amazing takeaways that you have been able to acquire and apply specifically in your entrepreneurial journey, what would you say are the three greatest takeaways from martial arts that you've been able to apply to your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, wow.
I know, loaded question.
Well, one would be, I think, find a living mentor.
Hmm.
Um, you know, it's good to read books. I read books. It's good to take a class on the internet. And sometimes I think the society is kind of, I'll take a class,
Yeah.
but there's nothing like connecting yourself to a living mentor. That is living knowledge.
Right.
And then I divide mentors or teachers into two groups. And the terminology we use is we call it a sun student or a moon student.
Hmm.
And it could be a sun teacher or a moon teacher. So a sun teacher creates light. And I think of Bruce Lee. He was very creative. He created something. Now he was shunned at the time for it. And now that is very common for sun teachers. And a moon student reflects light. They're the ones that said, this is what I learned. Here's my list. And I just regurgitate the list for you.
Hmm.
So I want to find a mentor, someone to connect myself to, but I'd like to find someone that is that Sun student. They have that creative energy and they're doing things that I don't see other people doing.
Mm,
And the old school, I'm going to place myself under them, and I would. And sometimes that means developing a relationship.
hmm.
Sometimes it means paying them. I have both.
Right.
Some of them you don't know who you are. You're not in their network. So you go, hey, here's money. I'd like to spend time with you.
Right.
And this is why I look at it as a mentor. But most of those guys that have that energy,
Yeah.
once they hear that and they understand that you're that type of personality, they want to help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be one, is finding that living mentor,
That's a
and
great one.
the guy that's out there doing it and
Hmm.
making the difference. Second would be,
Can I
and this is
interject
some,
on one point just for that?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's such a pivotal piece for me. It's not only a living mentor that you want to learn a piece from. When I think about it, I think about, would I actually want to trade places with them when it comes to business and entrepreneurial endeavors specifically? Because there's people like Elon Musk, for example, that guy, richest man in the world. Would I want to trade places with him as a father and as a husband? No. Whatever, 10 kids and 4 marriage, So it's like, I look at somebody who I could legit trade places with, both personally and professionally, in this arena. Would you agree that they have to have at least some semblance of that, or do you think it's kind of pick from people the best parts and then move on to the next? I'm just curious. I mean,
I could
either.
see that.
Yeah.
I do have some mentors that I don't know that I would take their life, though it's very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have something that is very unique
Mm,
that I would like to learn energetically.
got it.
And you can't do that on necessarily on a video. You got to be in person with them, and
Right.
that you teach this. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
come spend time with me.
Yeah.
And because that there is a difference when you
Very
get
much.
in a room with, there's, yes.
Yeah.
So in order to get that thing, maybe not trade life with them.
Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Okay. All right. Move on to number two. Sorry to cut you off. I just had to
That's okay.
interject on my 2 cents there.
The other thing, and actually this may relate to what we're discussing about, would be create your own educational process.
Mm,
I often, and I was taught this, but I often will say there's no system or method out there that will get you to where you want to be. You have to build it yourself.
mm,
Sometimes we'll go, well, I'll just go take this class, I'll get this degree and I'm good. And yes, that is a thing. But
yeah.
we're talking hustlers,
Yeah.
right? People who want to achieve things that aren't normal,
Right.
and they
Right.
want to do things that aren't normal. They want to operate at a higher level than what's average.
Right. Right.
So in that case, know how you learn, how you educate yourself,
Mm,
plan your education.
mm,
Pick out specific life units throughout your next year that you're going to invest in that education. And again, that to me, that mentors are kind of the beginning of that. May I'll travel and spend this time, and they said, "I'm take that information, and then I'm going to devote this time and work on it." Because I guess too, I might not want to build a life just like that guy. I like this element,
yeah.
but my life, we've drawn our blueprint overall for what we want to do
Yeah.
10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. It might look a little different.
Right.
And, I got a goal, but we all know it's going to change.
Yeah.
But in each category, for instance, we're talking about entrepreneurship, which is ultimately the tool of money.
Yes.
And, building a business is building a business, but the 1,000-mile view is we've got to get good at it to create freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And our freedom may look different than some of our mentors. Maybe I want to have more time with my kids. So, but
Yeah.
all of that comes down and influences how I build a business, or how many of them I build.
Right.
Um,
Right.
what networks do I connect myself to?
Mm.
But to me, when I look at the master filter, one of the major areas on that is freedom.
Yes.
So any decision I make, I get to the freedom category and I'm like, does it give me more or is it
Or
going to take some from me?
yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
so if I give some now in 5 years, do I get a lot back or am I
Mhm.
still going to be doing the same thing for the same amount of time?
Yeah, you nailed it, man. One of the things we're big on is the three freedoms, right? Especially as happy hustlers, creative, time, and financial freedom,
Right.
right? So I put everything through that decision matrix filter of, if I say yes to this, does it give me more or less of those three freedoms?
Nice.
And oftentimes you can very simply rid out decisions with 2 or 3 second, context, and it's um can save you a lot of time, money, resources in the process, if you
Right.
if you know where you're going and why, and you have a clear decision making process. So I love that. And creating your own education process, I mean, this is, what you wrote your new book on too, right?
Yeah.
It's like this new, this is book 4 for you, which is designing your own self education process. Just while we're here, talk to us a little bit about the book itself. And I know it's not out yet, but give us a little teaser on what people can expect to learn.
Well, it introduces examples of self educators,
Mm,
individuals who chose to take over their own education and build a process around it. I kind of look at the levels that I use. This is something I've done my whole life. And, the different legs that hold it up. For
mm,
instance, one of them is building a warrior's code. I'm a little old school. So, mine, I give examples and then you can build your own. One is the gentleman's code, chivalry. I'm a big believer in it.
yeah.
And then ethics, to know your foundation. And then everything kind of builds on top of that. I give examples of different areas. One of them, and I know you preach this because it's truth, is education in finance, understanding the
Mm,
tool of
mm,
money. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get caught up in the business, but ultimately, the business is just one of the tools we use. When
yeah.
we keep a 1,000 mile view. We have to have freedom. And if I
Right.
build the business wrong, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. I'm
Yeah.
creating another job, maybe two.
Yeah.
So it kind of go through that health or physical culture,
Hmm.
and not just saying I'll just go to the gym, and that's a good thing, but studying physical culture.
Mm,
There are different things that the body requires, and how am I going to get that? And there's lots of ways to get it. And building that, you might have to turn the gym into a garage and buy
mm.
a set of Indian pins or some kettlebells, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you can choose your way to do it
Right.
because this thing determines how we express ourselves in life.
Mm,
If we're in good shape and in those moments to hustle, because we talk about freedom, but you're going to have moments, especially if you're building something big,
right.
where you're going to be on the grindstone. So
Yes.
the more health you have and the more physical ability, the better condition your human machine is in, the
Yeah.
more effective you're going to be.
And more energy you'll have to produce and
Yes,
perform. Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it introduces a lot of those as examples, and then I kind of talk about how I built it. And then this might be a little extreme, but I can tell you in 2 years on a Thursday on the third month in the morning for the 4 hour block what I'm going to be doing.
Mm, love it.
Now, of course, things can change,
Right.
but I could also point at days that are specifically set aside for education,
Mm,
because I have to sit down and practice communication,
right.
as an example, the
Yeah.
ability to project
Yeah.
showmanship, uh, negotiate. Those are all things that have to be learned. They have to be practiced.
Right. Right.
Right. So when do you devote time? What
Mm,
life units are you going to say, I'm not going to be in front of the TV. I'm going to go upstairs in the bedroom, put the timer on, and I'm
yeah.
going to speak to the wall and practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's basically it. Kind of introduces the idea,
Nice.
and yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah. Sorry to take you on a tangent there, but I wanted to, I mean, that was a great life lesson from martial arts that can be applied to the business realm. And then you wrote a dang book on it. So I wanted to expand on it because having your own self-education process, it's somewhat of a unique coin term. I haven't heard people say it like you say it, but intuitively, I live it. I do it.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think many people do, right? But there's a way to do it right, probably, in the way that
Mhm.
I've been probably doing it, which is just winging it. So I'd rather do it your way. So I'm excited to read the book. Where can people go if they want to get a copy or learn more about it? Would your website be the place? Just
Yes,
yeah.
and it's there's a page on there for it, and there's a little place you can jump on an early bird release list,
Oh, nice.
and you're the first one to know.
Oh, okay. What's the best domain to shout out?
Oh, sifualanbaker.com,
Got
SIFUALANBAKER.com.
it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquires skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode. And for those people who don't know what Sifu means, explain it.
Well, it basically means father teacher. It's from Cantonese martial arts, and traditionally they really didn't teach outside the family. You had your method of martial arts and personal development. You didn't teach it to the neighbor. So a lot of the leadership positions were family members,
Love it.
uncle, father, mother.
Okay, I like it. Very cool. All right, let's get to the third takeaway from martial arts that can be applied to business and the entrepreneurial journey. Do you got one ready?
Wow, there's so many. I would say consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, especially in martial arts, well, I can't go to class twice a week, so I'm done. Well, can you go once? Well, I don't know if I can. Hey, can you go every 2 weeks?
Mm,
Like I've got clients that I work with that they train once a month. Now they set aside a half a day or a day.
yeah,
Well, I want to advance. Well, you will, especially if you put things on that day that are smart and
yeah,
intelligent, and just do it consistently. Um, does it add up more? Yes, that's the power. There's the volume knob,
yeah.
consistency volume knob. But we don't always get to choose. And like we said in the earlier self-education process, I've got some topics on my list that you know you only get to do them every couple of weeks, once a month.
Mm,
But the more important ones now I'm spending time on. But it's like, man, I'd like to at least take a small step monthly to get good at this thing
mm,
and decide to do it and just and consistently do it. And again, pretty simple, but can be difficult in life sometimes. Putting it down, finding time.
yeah.
But and again, that comes right off the academy floor.
Mm,
Is don't rush it. It's a life change. You're going to commit to this thing,
yeah.
and You're going to put time in consistently, and you're going to have growth of skill and knowledge over time.
Mm. Consistency is key. They say, and by they, I mean Zig Ziglar, specifically one of my favorite late great mentors that I learned from. He wasn't living, so I didn't get to meet him, but I did meet his son, Tom. Anyway, he says persistent consistency, right? So you have to persistently consist. And to take it a step further, you need to have discipline, right? And that's
Yeah,
where I look at someone like you who is so regimented throughout your days, your weeks, your months, your years in order to achieve the things you've achieved in these different, disciplines of martial arts. You've had to have that routine, that structure, and then you've been able to have that willpower internally to do what you say you're going to do, right? Which is a habit and a muscle all in its own.
correct.
Specifically, stay there for a beat, like, because I feel like if people had more of that discipline and willpower to do what they say they want and know they should and could do, they would achieve their dream reality much faster and more efficiently as well. But in your opinion, like, how do we build that muscle?
Well, it's like for me, it was like anything. I had to practice it.
Yeah.
I practiced it for years in a small way.
Hmm.
That's kind of a running joke is that I have a habit when I cook that food will go on the plate, and I'll clean everything that I use to cook it before I eat. And like Jen sometimes will look at me like, "That's not. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
Just come sit down and eat." And I go, "Nope,"
Yeah.
because it's in that moment that I have to have the discipline to do it.
Ah,
Nah, I'll get it later. I'll get it after. It's so simple to get it, but it's so absurd that it's easy to dismiss. But
yeah.
that's why I do it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then you eat cold food, do you not?
Well, I've gotten pretty good at cleaning stuff. I could
Okay,
get it
yeah,
done
I would
pretty
say you're
fast.
probably like a master at dishes.
So, and I found out that the more organized I am to begin with, the easier that process is.
Very
So,
true. Very true.
that's an example of a small thing.
Yeah,
And those small things, they add up. It's lifting small weight in the gym. And
right.
eventually, those small things will help you lift something that's bigger that you
Yeah.
maybe are not expecting. And I will say this too is like, you'll get mind tools and, say a mind tool related to discipline. And I'm going to say this to myself and I'm going to do this thing next week. Oh man, I don't know if I'll say it to myself and I'll do it again. Week after that, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Well, you have to create what coach just said, a habit. And that is possible. And it does take consistent time. And
Mm,
it will become part of who you are eventually. I
yes.
can contest to this. I was the kid that was like, this is not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going
Yeah.
to work. I don't like this. But now people say, well, how do you? And I'll
Mm,
say, how do you not?
mm.
Like the television thing, I haven't on the TV since the 90s. So
There
how
you
do you
go.
do that? I'm like, well, how do you not? I can't even sit in front of one for very long now. I get bored.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that way for a long time.
Mm,
And you will become that thing you design now.
mm.
So these little steps of discipline, willpower, spirit development eventually will be you. You'll just do those things. And after you change you, where you want to go, that's the next step. You will become what you are seeking.
Mm.
Sometimes you'll change yourself into something that gets an invitation to be in the room with the right people that
Yeah.
will influence
Right.
where you're going. So much power in self leadership.
Mm.
We going to be a leader. I'm going to be a leader, and there's a lot of guys out there teaching it. For me, that was what I did. It was self leadership,
Mm.
and it's what my teachers are. You're in charge of you. You make the decision. Nobody else is around.
Yeah.
You have to have the discipline in that moment. Nobody's looking. Yeah, the dirty plate could wait till afterwards.
Yeah. 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 It can, but it shouldn't,
Yes.
right?
but
Yeah.
you decide.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the powerful things that I realized later after it had become automatic and I had moved on to build bigger habits of growth and kind of realized, wow, all the small ones, they're kind of natural now. They've become a thing. And so it does work.
Yeah. Oh, it
It
definitely does. I
oh,
don't
yeah.
think anyone who's accomplished anything noteworthy has lacked discipline or not consistently lacked discipline, right? You
Right.
have to have it in order to achieve greatness in any realm. It's
Agreed.
just that's what they say. If you want to be extraordinary, you need to be extraordinary, right? So it's discipline is the pivotal piece to that puzzle. And
Yes.
it's cool to hear some of the things that you're disciplined on. And, you think about, okay, well, Sifu Alan's been training for 44 years and how's he been able to achieve all these, this expert level in so many different disciplines? Well, it's because he doesn't have a TV. It's because he's not wasting time doing things that don't serve his end mission and goal. And I think that is a big takeaway, is having that clarity of where you want to go to. And then again, putting it through the decision matrix. Does this get me closer or further away? Each and every decision. I am curious, Sifu, just, hopefully I can call you Sifu. I like that name, so I want to call you that. Okay. Sifu
Sure. I
Alan.
get that a lot.
All right, good. So when it comes to martial arts, and specifically I want to ask for like the everyday citizen, the civilian out there, because I know you train, SWAT teams and military personnel and bodyguards, and you're like working with the badasses of the badasses, so I don't think most of our audience are looking for that level of training per se. But for the average person out there, they want to be able to defend themselves. And I know you work with those type of people too, right? Your
Yes.
programs, your books, your teachings, your in person, your studio, your academy, etc. What do you recommend? Which discipline? I know you get this question a lot, but which one, if you had to like say, hey, at least take some Muay Thai and mix it with jujitsu and get proficient with a little Krav Maga or whatever, like of all the different disciplines, what's the makeup of a well-rounded civilian who typically, in your opinion, is prepared for the average, everyday, or most common, will you, scenario of adversity?
It's unfortunate, but that is a deep answer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so we could super simplify it and say, yes, you gave an example of two good ones. Thai boxing is they have amazing striking,
Hmm.
and jujitsu they handle the ground environment very well. But it's important. Something that we have to take into consideration is that we how things look visually in today's culture, because as soon as you start something at the target, things are going to come out, and
The cell
you're
phone.
right.
Yeah.
uh, so
What,
you
it's
you
going
ha-
down at the Target where you live? Is that that's some rough targets.
you never know, man. I stay at home all the time to
Maybe
avoid trouble,
Walmart.
right?
Yeah,
I hide at the house, talk to my buddies.
yeah, yeah. Get groceries delivered to you to
It's
see if you can
crazy
use
out
your
there, man. It's
skills.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, we kind of have to take into consideration how it looks visually,
Yes.
how it's accepted socially,
Mm-hmm.
and then is it legally explicable?
Mm.
And all three of those areas are not normally considered in martial arts.
Right.
And then the second thing is just like you see in law enforcement professionals, even a civilian, you should have some sort of force continuum. And you should have answers for lower levels of force. You know,
Force continuum. Just unpack that because I love that phrase, but it's a $5 sentence and I don't know it.
you should have answers for different levels of force.
Roger that.
So somebody that is starting something at a social level with you, but they don't really want to fight, they want to intimidate you, push you around.
Right.
And a lot of times a predatorial mindset will do that to test you and see if
Mm.
you're going to be an easy meal. And depending on how well you handle that, they'll push it up the spectrum. They don't really want to fight. They want you to just give them what they want.
Right.
So it's important to have an answer at that level to be able to handle it, to de-escalate. Sometimes not having an answer, if you only have an answer, that would be considered assault. So like in Thai boxing, if I get into my stance and I start doing this
Yeah.
because I think we're going to fight, well,
Yeah.
I just assaulted you. So, it's not designed for that. So you need something that you can use at a social level pre-assault.
Right.
And then, at the assault level. And you need to have something that's going to deal with weaponry, whether it's something that's going to be a lethal force idea or it's a blunt instrument, because most predators they want an advantage.
Right.
They don't want to have a fair fight.
Right.
They're going to show up with something.
Right.
So you need to know how to do that too. And traditionally, you look at martial arts pre World War II. One of my instructors, Tim Wade, talks about this all the time. Most of those arts were weapon based, and the empty hand stuff was second. We've kind of got away from that a little bit, but the reason it was that way is because human nature, predatorial mind, is going to show up with a tool.
Right.
So we need to know how to deal with that, or how to wield one ourselves. And
Right.
and you don't have to carry one. Like I teach this is a running joke in the tribe I run with, how to use a spoon, how to use a salt shaker, something you just grab off the table, and
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know what to do.
Mm.
That element should be in there. And then firearms is a reality.
Right.
Having some answers for that,
Right.
whether they bring it to the fight or as unfortunate it is, you're forced to bring it to the fight.
Yeah.
And all of those should weave together seamlessly. And, if you look at that recipe for self-defense, what system does all that? We're not even talking about the ground.
That's true.
And in the 5 areas of study, once gravity takes over, it could be a lot.
Yeah.
But to paint a picture, if you're out there and you're thinking, well, that might give you a framework.
Yeah.
But again, baseline, you may have to go down the street and work with the local instructor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about it. So you have to consider, okay, visually how this is going to appear,
Right.
socially how this is going to land, and then legally, is it explicable, right? And I mean, I didn't. You don't consider all that in the moment, but I mean, I'll give you an example, the stupid one, but I like when you were explaining that, I was at a Costco, my truck, and there was a line for gas, right? And there was a little granny in front of me who wasn't really paying attention, and someone from way, way back swooped her and got in and tried to get gas. I was like, this was when I lived in Florida. So I was like, whoa, it's just, there's plenty of douchebags everywhere, but there's a concentration down there. Uh, so, so I went up to this, dude and his girlfriend and whatever. And I literally just got out of Krav Maga class. So I was already feeling spicy, but I also had a knife in my pocket and a pistol in my waistband, because I always do typically. And it's like, well, I'm going to start at that, verbal level, like you just
Right.
said. I don't need to show any of these tools because they're not necessary at this very moment. But I said, listen, buddy, there's zero chance in hell you're getting gas right now. So you can make this the worst decision you've ever made in your life and attempt to, or you can pick up, get back in line with integrity, and let this little old lady and everyone else who's been waiting in line go. Anyway, turned into kind of his girlfriend getting in my face and all this stuff. And then the Costco guy came over and tried to break it up. And I just stood there like, this is a block in the pump, basically. Long story short, I didn't have to use the tools because I could use the words, at least to some degree of efficiency. And I think in any given moment in life, you need to be prepared to use these different realms of de-escalation, conflict resolution. It doesn't matter if someone, wants to, we don't have to go down this route, but the kitty litter example, when you put a kitty litter box in your kid's classroom, it's like, you're going to have to learn how to coexist with that parent who thinks their kid's a cat. And, and you don't want a kitty litter box in your kid's classroom. Bad example. But the point is, you bring a tool to that conversation, it's only going to get worse. You need to be able to use your words and outwit. So it's using these weaponry differently, words, you know, calm self-confidence, being able to be prepared. And typically the person with the loudest bark has the least bite, and I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
you found, because like you're this cool, calm, and collected killer. I know you are, but you wouldn't know it if you met you on the street. Nicest guy ever, so I always think about that, being able to use your tools in different scenarios and being able to de-escalate a situation, preferably without physical force. Would you agree that's like the ascension?
totally agree. And
Yeah,
there's so much going on right there.
right. I know.
You
There's a lot.
know, one, and we all the way back like weeks ago at the beginning of this podcast, and we were saying
Yeah,
becoming that man that's
yeah,
willing to step forward.
yes.
And then midway through, I'm joking about being an old school gentleman. Well, look what Coach Jack just did. That is awesome. He's like, this is not right.
Yeah,
And, out of all the people out there, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, but, stepped up. Wow. I love it.
thanks.
And,
I wasn't trying to toot my own horn. I was just using a real life
well, I'm
example.
tooting your horn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
That's what we need more of right there. Somebody who is to the point in their life where maybe they can't stand up for themselves, but you've got those gentlemen, those warriors out there, the ones that have made the decision in advance. They prepared in advance, and they're like, this is where I step up.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And then having tools like any warrior based personality,
Yeah.
they have tools and they spend time sharpening them and being good at it. They're probably one of the first ones to not use it,
Right.
because
Right.
anybody that spent time at war, they're the first ones that are like, I do not want that.
Yeah.
Anytime that someone has spent a lot of time fighting and you've got a nose like mine, it's the last place you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's no fun. Neither one of us are going to win.
Yeah.
It's just going to be painful for both of us.
Yeah. But
But
you could guarantee it's gonna be worse for them if you're going at Sifu. So
well, I have a rule: any given Sunday. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, but yeah, that's
yeah.
just how it works sometimes. Even Sunday, something can slip up, slide in, and
Yeah.
make a difference. But
It's true. Yeah. Well, anyway, man, I love the mindset and the way that you go about, living this warrior's path, right? And then sharing it with others. I think it's just such a important, powerful, confidence building, acquisition and knowledge that I highly stand behind. That's why I was excited to bring you on, because I don't get to talk to many martial arts experts of 44 years of, I have had my kung fu and Taoist priest, my kung fu master and Taoist priest, Master Wudong Chen on the podcast, and that was a great episode. But his English is very rough, so it's nice to hear someone who can really communicate in an elegant way the importance to be prepared, to seek this wisdom, these universal truths that have been passed down through martial arts. And it dates back to the beginning of mankind, is this combat, right? So
right,
it's an important concept that I feel like everyone should have at least some baseline understanding of how to protect themselves.
I
But
agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people go? I know you have a new program coming out too, to learn some actual tactics and skills. Your new program, it hasn't launched yet, I believe, right? But talk to us about where people can get it when it does launch.
Well, it would be on the website. We
Okay.
we do have some video training options on there, and we have one area that's events. I travel all over the U.S. teaching for different organizations, and we keep that updated. If you're not in the mood to go to Atlanta, there's a chance that I'll be landing close to you at some point.
Yeah.
So that is an option too.
Awesome. So yeah, we can point them to the website. Yeah, I know you travel a lot and do trainings all over the world. So that'd be awesome if people out there listening and watching could say, "Hey, I'm going to Sifu Alan's class. I heard you on the Happy Hustle podcast." So let them know if you if you go to one of his classes. That'd be cool, ripple effect. And we got to get you out to Montana. I know we've been talking about having you for one of our masterminds to do some training. So we're gonna talk after about that. But I do want to put you through just our rapid fire round before we wrap this this podcast up. And basically, this is random questions that I like to ask, and you answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I think.
All right, let's go. Favorite food? Hit me with it.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. All
It's a
right.
sin too, man. It's something that,
Hey.
so bad for me, but
Oh, come on. We're going to die from something. Might as well be spaghetti. No, I'm kidding. Favorite book?
oh wow. The Bible, man.
Hmm. Yeah.
Your second favorite book, and then I'd have to think for a second.
Yeah, right. Favorite movie?
Oh wow. Let's go with Fight Club.
That's a winner. What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal. Jennifer has this little nephew, and he's 3 years old, and he is a wild card already. It's like a little Tarzan. He's fearless.
Nice.
He'll climb up on furniture and not even think and just dive off of it. So Sealy is my spirit animal.
That's hilarious.
I admire that. I watch that and go, man, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I'd get up there and go, oh, that's going to hurt.
Oh, yeah. Risk mitigation nowadays. All right. Best business advice.
You're going to fail. Don't let it stop you. Plan for it, expect it, and then just roll right around it to the next one.
Well said. Happy hustle hack for your health. Something you do uniquely, Alan.
Oh, wow. Some type of breath training. It will change your life. The breath is the bridge. Yeah. Some sort of expansion training. We spend all our lives under contraction, gravity, bad diet, traffic in Atlanta. Spend some time expanding, having good posture. It will change your life as well. Strength training of some type, many options, but it's important as you get later in your journey, and you don't have to go to the gym to do it.
Right. Well said. There you go. How about happy hustle hack for your money? Something you do, again, maybe to save, invest, or spend wisely. Maybe that's a little unique.
Well, study it like you study any other topic. There's always something you don't know and be a perpetual white belt. Live below your means. And when your means rise, don't rise with it. Yeah. Because our like we said earlier, we want to create freedom. And that is one of the tools that will do it if you handle it and build the wall of finance intelligently.
Yes. Yeah. Again, well said. How about happy hustle hack for your spirituality? Something you do to connect to a higher power.
Turn off the noise. Disconnect from the phone, that little cell phone, disconnect from the computer, turn off the TV.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes days to get that junk. You'll hear people detox.
Yeah.
And you'll know when it happens. And it's a heck of a feeling. I remember the first time I was exposed to silence. Yeah. One of the most powerful things, and that will help you look internally easier.
Yeah. Well said. How about 3 things you're most grateful for today?
Oh, wow. Health. The people around me. It's good people. Your inner circle is hard to find.
Yeah.
Wow. Life in general. What an amazing ride.
Yeah.
How many people don't get to finish it? So the fact that I'm still on this roller coaster and strapped in, I am grateful for that.
Yeah, man. Amen. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, what's that billboard read?
Holy cow.
Holy cow. That's a good one.
Yeah. Make a difference. Create some change.
Boom. I love that, man. Sifu Alan, I just want to take a moment, man, to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your martial arts techniques and tips and tools and tactics, as well as just your soul and how you go about it in this very, again, cool, calm, and collected way to spread these truths, these universal truths. And yeah, man, just appreciate you and being in my life and supporting the Happy Hustle journey, and looking forward to training with you in person soon, and
Oh yeah.
getting that on the books, man. So just grateful for you. Thank you again.
Well, thank you. I'm grateful for you and the opportunity to be here. And guys, if you are not connected to this man, you're out there listening to this podcast, you're thinking,
Yeah.
get off your ass and make a connection. Reach out to him
Thank you,
because he's one of the good ones.
Thank you, man. I received that, bro. I received that very much, and means a lot coming from you. So thank you again. Let's tie a bow on everything we talked about. You know, if you could give people a call to action or some lasting message you'd like to leave.
You know, create some positive change. You are capable of it.
Mm.
You are not, you're almost never totally trapped. There's always a way to make a difference, make a change. Like we said, reach out to your mentor, get outside of your box, connect with people. There are change agents out there. And just much like what we just said about Coach Jack, just connecting yourself with them will change you, because there's a delivery of energy. There's a sharing of it, and it does make a difference to surround yourself with those good people.
Well said, man. And again, where can people go to follow you best online?
Oh, well, I guess the main landing place would be the main website. And there's places on there for the social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If you want to connect, please do. And if you want to reach out, please reach out.
Yeah, reach out, check out his new book, get on that early bird release for designing your own self-education process. Check out his courses, sifualanbaker.com. This has been amazing, man. Final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Getting after it, making a plan, and putting massive effort into it.
Sifu Alan Baker, y'all. Mic drop moment. Thank you for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everybody.